we actually about to start co-parenting. My mind shift was, okay, I can't be mad at her for how she lives her life. I have to give her grace. If she ain't doing nothing illegal, just gotta love her for where she's at, because at the end of the day, half of her is in my child.
Your child's looking at that.
And my child is looking at that.
Yeah.
Especially for me, my daughters. My daughters need to see how their father is treating their mother. If you're co-parenting right now and just trying to figure things out, this episode is for you. No one hands you a manual to co-parenting. In fact, you learn through conversations, mistakes, and growth. And right now, this conversation is all about helping you choose the right type of co-parenting, choosing the child even when your emotions are loud. So let's get into it. Welcome everybody to the Not Perfect But Ready podcast. I am your host, Alexander Clark, and I'm here with my boy Dre today. Dre, what's up?
What up, my guy? How you doing,
good
brother?
to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yes,
dog.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for stopping in today.
Yeah. My
Man,
pleasure.
tell us a little bit about yourself, Dre.
Man, a little bit about Dre, man. I mean, I'm 27 years old.
Let's go.
Got 2 kids. Got one that's going to be 4 soon in May. Got one that just turned 2. So all about that dad life now. And yeah, man, we met at a mattress firm probably about 5 years ago now.
4 or 5, yeah.
About 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was only a few of us.
Right.
When I mean us, I mean us.
Of a certain
tone.
Complexion.
Bronze.
Yeah. Hair of wool.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So it was easy to spot out.
100%. I said, I think we have a similar level of humor.
Yep.
That comes natural to us, that I was able to gravitate towards real easy. And I was like, man, that's my brother already.
Made us feel like home.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah, so you're a father, man, of 2.
Yep.
Boy and a girl. 27. And figuring this thing out.
Figuring it out, man.
Let's go, man. Yeah. So this is the perfect episode, man. I mean, co-parenting is it's a growing, it's a live, learned, like live, real time thing that we experience when we have kids and we're not in relation with the other parent, the other party.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, I think in general, I had kids pretty young, so I was still, I'm still growing right now, as we all are.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been challenging. It's been rewarding. There's been a lot that I've gone through, just with it. I think, again, co-parenting is not something that I think that is ever really like the goal.
Right.
When you have kids at first, you're not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a single parent at one point, or have to share, the responsibilities in that sort of a way. And so yeah, man, just every day learning, being willing to grow and get better.
Absolutely. Again, that's not something we hope to be, a situation we hope to be in.
Right.
Nobody says, yeah, I'm gonna have kids just to figure out the co-parenting lifestyle.
Yeah, man. And for me, it was kind of ugly. It didn't come as like something that I knew or could really plan for. It was abrupt more than anything. We thought we could figure it out together, but I think again, my partner, or, my ex-partner, being young herself, was also trying to grow, and I think we were growing in ways that weren't conductive to a healthy lifestyle with our kids. And for me, I more so had to make the decision of, for my own mental health, and I thought for the sake of our kids that this wasn't going to work out.
Right. Yeah. Actually, man, thank you for sharing that. I'm actually so one of the things I like to do, especially depending on the topic, is actually share the definition or, kind of what it actually is that we're talking about. And I'm just going to read, I just pulled it up here, the definition of co-parenting. Co-parenting is a collaborative, child-focused approach where separated or divorced parents work together to raise their children, sharing responsibilities and maintaining consistent routines across households. Yo, that one.
Consistency.
Teams across households. That one's big. Let's talk on that part real quick for a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna just share from my experience with co-parenting. Man, the whole, they get to do certain things at mom's house, but not at dad's house. That's tough. Even growing up, I grew up with, my parents co-parenting, and it was certain things that, dad let us do, but mom didn't. And it's like, man, that's not healthy.
Right.
It's
Right.
not, it has to be a consistent,
Because it confuses the
it
child, right?
confuses them. Yeah.
I think that I've been doing this for about a year now with the co-parenting. And I think that, yeah, man, it's been challenging to find consistency, right? Like,
Hmm.
especially in the beginning for me, it
Hmm.
was one of those things where, there was animosity towards each other, actually, right? And so
Yeah.
we had rifts in our relationship, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't a clean break, like I mentioned earlier. And so, when we're dealing with our differences, we're not really communicating as effectively as we should have been. And so that's been a huge part of my growth is being able to have those open communications
Hmm.
with the mother, and just figuring out, like, what are you trying to do?
Hmm.
What tone are you setting in your household? And
Yeah.
then how can I, piggyback off of that and, get things done and again develop some level of like consistency for the children. And
Yeah.
so yeah, man, I mean,
Yeah, man, it's big. It's big. I know when I was co-parenting with my oldest, it was like bedtimes, snack times, and things to like watch on TV were the biggest like disagreements.
mhm.
Do y'all have like certain things or certain areas where you're like, okay, how can we agree when it comes to this? When it comes to what they eat or whatever? What do y'all have? Are
For
you?
sure, for
Yeah,
sure. I mean, again, we've just had open dialogue. So like,
that's good. That's good.
I think, in the beginning it was hard because we weren't communicating effectively. So I'm just
Hmm.
picking the kids up. I'm doing what I do. And
Gotcha.
then when
Yeah.
I drop them back off, she's doing whatever she does,
Right,
right?
right.
The growth that I've seen in us communicating is that now we have a routine. Like the kids go to sleep 8 p.m. We do bath time before bed. I read a book before bed.
Yeah,
And then, mom does the same when they're at her house. And then they wake up same time. We 7 a.m. every
yeah.
day.
Oh, nice, nice.
And it's at this point, it's a circadian rhythm, which is something we know from the bed world, right?
Right.
They completely locked into the routine at this point. So it works out good, man. Food is something that is a little bit more challenging,
Mhm.
and something that we're still working on. Just because a part of this for me is I'm learning how to have more of that nurture vibe,
Yeah,
right? Before I was sole provider, I didn't have to worry about what we was eating as
yeah,
much. Mom is supposed to have that already kind of hooked up was
yeah.
the 50-50 balance. And so I'm learning how to cook and things and and get better with dieting.
Mhm.
But ultimately, and we actually had this conversation just the other day.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta feed them whatever they can eat at the same time. And so she's giving me some grace with that for
Yeah.
now. And so it's going good though. It's going good. I can't really complain.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I love it. It's the other part of the whole thing is like sharing responsibilities. Sharing the responsibilities, man. It's not one of the other person's responsibility to get them clothes,
Right.
to get them shoes or to get their books for school or their school supplies. Is we're sharing it. And I think that's gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way. Now,
Yeah.
don't get mad at me. I'm reading the definition because I've seen it where just from my experience, it's the man's responsibility to do all these things, right?
Man. That's the
And
standard they
yeah,
set out for
that's
sure.
the standard, man. But according to the definition, is our responsibility. Like
Right.
we're supposed to be coming together, working together on consistency and on just maintaining to do what's best for the child. Period.
Right.
So let's get into a few questions we got here, man, because we
Uh,
can definitely talk on this for a minute. The biggest thing for me, like I said, is we my hope for this episode is just for people who are in this situation or along this journey of co-parenting, starting this journey or have been on this journey and it hasn't worked out well, is that you could just hear from us, hear our stories, and maybe pick something up that you can put into practice for yourself, or maybe be able to lower your guard and have that conversation with the other party to honestly just make it a better experience for both you and the kids. So let's get into it. The first question I have for you, Dre, and I'll answer these questions as well. But like, what's the biggest mindset shift you had to make when you realized you were going to be co-parenting?
Man, my biggest mindset shift when I realized that I was gonna be a co-parent was definitely stepping into a role of not just being the goofball parent,
Mhm.
but also being a disciplinarian and still having to figure out how to do the nurture side as well.
Mm.
So it's like I'm taking on like things that I didn't really have to worry about before,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Like before, I work, we work 9 to 5, right? I'm average working class man. So like I come home and I just want to have fun with my kids,
Yeah,
and I'm allowed to do that, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because mom already done took care of all the other things throughout the
yeah,
day, right?
yeah.
And so all we're doing is, having fun. We have dinner, I kiss my babies goodnight and they go to sleep,
Mhm.
right? Versus now, I'm having to, okay, I pick them up from daycare after a day at work, right? Now I'm having dialogue with the teacher at daycare about
Yeah. Yeah,
whatever the kid might have said, or if they snatched the toy from a different
yeah,
kid. And then I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I go about, a discipline for that? Or like, how do I navigate that? And so that's been, challenging. And I mean, I guess you have to deal with that anyways as a parent, but even more so when you have 100% of the responsibilities on
yeah,
your shoulders, right? For the
yeah,
time that you have them,
yeah,
it's all on you,
yeah,
like there's not another parent to go to get mom's opinion or get her flavor on it,
yeah,
So yeah, that's the biggest mindset shift is just stepping into the other roles of parenting, whereas I was before able to just be in this one space.
yeah. No, that's big. That's huge because you don't think about something until it's gone. Like, "Oh, shoot, I didn't have to worry about this. I didn't have to worry about setting the dentist appointments, the doctor's
100%.
appointments, the calling out of work because they're sick, or
100%.
whatever, because that other party naturally would take care of that."
Exactly.
It wasn't, "Well, she's the woman, that's what she's supposed to do." It wasn't none of that. It was just more of a natural position. We were put in our natural positions to take care of the kid.
Exactly.
And when it comes to the co-parent, my mindset shift for me was realizing that the way I had to treat the other party, like
Right.
not being upset with them,
Right. Giving
period.
them grace.
Giving them grace.
Yep.
Even when it might have been for us, it was my fault for stepping out because I was like, hey, for my mental health and what I'm trying to do, what I do for work, I have to have peace. And there's no
Mm.
peace. We're just constantly fighting. Like, what this ain't good for the kids. I don't need my daughters thinking that this is how they talk to their man or whatever the case was. For me, that was my case. So I decided to step out for peace, purpose, and the fact that it was just affecting my job and I couldn't work and we needed the money. And I was making good money at that time. So, with intent to make it work, it didn't end up working out. But as I knew when I realized, okay, we actually about to start co parenting, my mind shift was, okay, I can't be mad at her for how she lives her life. I have to give her grace. If she ain't doing nothing illegal, just gotta love her for where she's at and respect her for where she's at because at the end of the day, half of her is in my child.
Right.
So I
100%.
gotta I gotta
And your
make
child's
sure.
looking at that
And my
too.
child is looking at that,
Yeah.
especially for me, my daughters. My daughters need to see how their father is treating their mother,
Right.
So it was like, all right, I gotta make sure. Now, I ain't, we co-parent. I ain't gotta be hugging and kissing all up on it. Now that's different. Now y'all just playing around.
Right,
Now
right,
y'all
right,
just
right.
still like, okay, we still
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Nah,
I
nah.
would call that a little
Yeah,
toxicity.
that's
We
that's
we
that's
don't
toxic.
we don't wanna be at that level,
That's
but
toxic. You can only see the kids if you know what I mean. We
yeah,
not nah,
and
yeah,
I've seen that happen.
yeah, no,
I've
yeah,
seen that.
yeah.
I've heard those
It's
stories.
happened. It's
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
It's
that's out
happened.
there,
Yeah.
but
But anyway, the mindset shift was
right.
was changing the way I looked at the mother for
Yeah.
sure. So I don't know what that could be for y'all, but ask yourself that question: like, if you're about to step into co-parenting, or if you are in co-parenting right currently, like, what was the mindset shift? What shifted in you when you realize, okay, this is what we got to do? So, yeah, ask yourself that, and then I just want to get into that second question, man, because that was deep. That was a good one for me to even rethink what it was, and then just to hear your perspective on for you, it was like taking on that
Yeah,
other
man.
role.
Yeah, that's something that I never really thought about until the question was posed to me.
Yeah,
Like, because you're going through it actively, right?
correct.
So, yeah,
It
I'm
just
glad that
you
we could
just kinda
sit
lock
down.
in on
Exactly,
it.
exactly.
All right, so number 2, second question I have for you, man, is what are some everyday challenges people don't realize that come with co-parenting?
I think right along the same lines of like accepting the other parent for where they are,
Yeah,
is patience.
patience.
Man, you
Yeah,
gotta have patience.
elaborate a little bit on that one.
So, I mean, like from a perspective of like, again, I'm stepping out of a role rather that I haven't been in before. I'm having to be nurture as well as disciplinarian and still be myself and still,
Yeah.
make sure that I'm giving them parts of me, not just, the corporate dad. Like, when it comes to, I mean, I feel like male figures, we grow up a little bit more of that nature,
Mhm.
right? Versus nurture having patience with my kids even, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I didn't realize because I didn't do it before, like cooking. Like if I'm cooking
Yeah.
and I'm trying to cook and my son and my daughter are both in the kitchen running back and forth and asking daddy a million questions, how do I refrain from having a tone of voice that is gonna be detrimental to them? I don't want to be
Yeah.
raising my voice and yelling all the time. And so that causes for patience.
Especially after burning the toast twice? Come on, this is the second
Exactly, like,
round.
"Dad, it's just
Stay
spaghetti.
out of
Why is it
it.
taking you 3 hours?" And I'm like, "I mean, my bad, I'm learning, yo."
That's crazy.
And same thing with the other parent as well, like, there's certain things or times where I've been, upset. I might have vocalized my upsetness with them in a way that wasn't, like, I don't think effective communication. So,
Mhm,
again, learning how to have patience with them,
mhm,
right? Like, um,
mhm,
even I'll throw this out there, like my partner, my ex, she claimed the kids this year for taxes and that.
mm.
And there was just a quick phone call. She called me up and was like, "Hey, I'm claiming the kids for tax, or did you already claim the kids?" And I'm like, "Nah, I didn't claim them yet or nothing." She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna claim them this year." And like in my head internally, I felt a little disturbed by it because we didn't have any type of
Conversation on that,
conversation or
yeah.
dialogue about it, right? And so, naturally my emotion was like, bro, I mean, how do you just get to make that decision for both of
Right,
us, right?
right.
But being that I'm a year in now, I had the patience to just be like, okay, cool. So what's our plan for next year? Okay, yeah, next year, we'll go ahead. You'll take one kid, I'll take the other one.
Yeah.
All right, let me reflect on that a little bit. Yeah, that sounds great. Cool. You have them this year so you can get your stuff handled. And yeah, man, just having that patience, because that other person has stuff going on as well.
Mhm.
Your kids have a lot of stuff going on, and even having patience with yourself. So just generally having patience has been a huge thing for me.
That's dope, that's dope. That's a challenge, and that leads to, like, the challenge I had, which, you're saying, patience, I'm saying process. Like,
Mm,
for me, it was learning to process even emotions, because you don't know like, for me, I was co-parenting with a daughter, so learning the emotions and processing emotions was big for me. She's crying, and I'm like, "Oh, for what?"
right.
Like, come on, it's literally just it's a teddy bear, or whatever the case is,
Right,
it's
right,
just a bath, like, come on.
right.
But learning to just be patient and process the emotions with her and help her process, I think that was a challenge for me is, like, meeting the kids where they're at, like, they're going through it too.
They're going through it too.
So, understanding that you have to process this with them, that was huge. Because for me, I lived on my own for a long time anyway. When I was in college, I lived on my own. I didn't even stay on campus. I stayed in my own apartment. So, like, I already had the cooking down. I already had the, going to the laundromat, doing all the things as a single person anyway. So, I was
Got
already
you.
naturally blessed with that gift or that skill.
Right.
But it was literally like slowing down and meeting the kids where they're at, processing those emotions with my daughter when she was going through something and asking better questions than to just try to resolve it really fast.
Yeah,
So
yeah, nah, cause kids is going through a
they
lot,
going
man. I
through
know
that.
we far removed from it now, but I kinda remember a little bit of being a kid,
Oh yeah, man.
and there's stress and there's a lot of stuff going on in your life as well, and,
Yeah, man. I mean, growing up in a watching my parents co-parent with us, it was still kind of one of the things where I felt like they didn't hear us for a minute because they was
mm,
too busy trying to argue or speak over each other. So
mm.
it's like not that my parents really argued in front of us, but you could sense the tension in certain things.
Did you see your parents together a lot still though? Like, in the same space, I mean?
Nah, not at
'Cause,
all.
like, that's like, we're never really together
Not
except for a transition of
not at
handing off the
all. Not
kids,
at all. It was more transition
which is
and
something I actually wanna grow with and
yeah.
be able to have, like, sit downs and more.
Yeah, no, I believe in that. I mean, so with my oldest, me and her mom, we definitely spent birthdays together, hung out and stuff like that. Hangouts at the house or like her sister would host like if it was 4th of July or something, they grilling and chilling. I'll come through, hang out for a little bit. And, we would just have a good time, laugh and chill and just leave it at that.
Mhm.
Birthdays were spent together. So that I I did with my kids, but I didn't see that growing up.
Got you,
Yeah,
got you.
so but I think it's very important because, again, if you can, I know some people got restraining orders and things of that nature, so you domestic situation, whatever, I get it. That's different. I'm speaking to those who are really, like, they have the opportunity to, but they just struggling with doing it because of whatever personal or selfish reasons they may have going on. You can do it. You can definitely get around that parent and just again, this ain't about you, this ain't about the other parent. This is about the kids. It's about doing what's best for the kids. And I'm not saying you gotta give them a hug. I'm not saying you gotta try to make it work.
I mean, I would say a lot of times, don't try to make that work.
Yeah,
You can co-parent, and that's probably more effective than trying to make it work.
then trying to make it work. Yeah, for
I,
sure.
if you don't mind,
Yeah.
I grew up with both of my parents in the household for majority of my childhood. My parents didn't split up until I was like 12 years old.
Dang.
And so I went through high school without them, but that was about it. But I say that to say that, from 0 to 12, all I saw was bickering back and forth with my parents,
Yeah, yeah,
like domestic violence disputes,
yeah,
mom going to jail, dad, having allegations of cheating, and just all these different things, right?
yeah.
And it weighed on me. 'Cause I think naturally, boys, we gravitate towards our mother, right? Like I love
Absolutely,
my dad, and
absolutely.
I looked up to my dad,
Yeah,
but we gravitate and we love our mom a little
absolutely.
differently, right? My mom would say certain things, that made me have a negative outlook on my pops.
Mhm.
Whereas, I wish sometimes that they would have split up earlier because I wouldn't have had those negative outlooks
Yeah,
to even draw back on.
for sure.
Uh, and so yeah, man, I say, you know, do what works for y'all, but have the best interest in the kids first and
And the kids,
foremost.
yeah. I mean, and not everything. Some things can be reconciled, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Counseling and therapy and things like that. Because, um, well, I'll share for me, from my perspective in that
Mm,
situation. I didn't know till years later that my ex-wife was really struggling with like postpartum.
right.
So with me not even understanding what that was and why she was upset here at one minute and happy the next and all these different things, I just thought somebody was just going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, basically. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, I at that in that time I just did what was best. And even throughout the counseling, because we did try counseling and things like that, the things that needed to happen on her end, she didn't really agree with. So to me, that led me to believe, okay, cool. Since you're really not going to make any effort to do what needs to be done, then I know I don't have time to waste here. What's best for the kids is for them to see. This is what I said. I remember exactly what I said and how I said it. I said, hey, before there's a happy we, there has to be a happy me. And like, I'm not happy with the way you're treating me and the way we're doing this thing. And if you're not clearly not going to do the things that are necessary for us to get better, then what are we doing here?
and I think because it was similar for me, and I think that takes a lot of courage. to even be able to step out on that limb and say that to
Yeah,
your significant other,
I
right?
did.
I think a lot of people have this image again of what your perfect family should look like and
Mhm,
having both parents in the household, where they suffer internally, you
mhm,
know?
mhm.
And again, I think that you think you hit it on the nose. Like before there's a happy we, there has to be a happy me,
Yep,
and a happy you.
and happy you.
Right.
Yeah,
And so if we're both independently not happy, I don't see how together
we're gonna be
we can
happy.
be happy, right?
Exactly.
Props to you though for trying counseling, man. That's something that I ain't stepped into yet. But
It was good. It was good. It was both needed for like it smacked me in the face with a couple things, but it also helped me realize, like how invested the other person really is in like really getting better. Because there were things in my childhood that I didn't even realize affected the way I looked at women or
yeah,
viewed women. And nothing negative. I just thought, okay, yeah, no, she's supposed to be doing the cooking, right? That's
right.
what my grandma always made sure
That
my
was your
granddad.
perspective.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
grandma always had a fresh plate on the table for granddad. Like
100%.
I get home from work and you didn't do nothing.
Right.
Man, my grandma had 7 kids. You only had 1. I will say that was toxic. I used to do that a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to do that a couple of times. I know for sure I did it. I was like, "Wait, my grandma had 7, 8 kids, and granddad still had a hot meal.
Yeah.
What you mean? There's just 1,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
make all
that's
the
just what you expected. No,
yeah,
that's all you knew though.
that's all I knew. Now I will say this, I got a few books back here about marriage and stuff like that, and I really wish I had it's all about communication, man. In the beginning, before y'all even step
Right.
into a serious relationship, have them conversations about what's the expectation. One of these books I was reading, what it was like, how do you expect dinner? How do you expect a day after work? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you want a hot meal? Do you want to just go on about your business, go to your man cave or go to your spa day? How do you expect to come home? What do you expect to come home to? And you just got to have those conversations right in the beginning and set the tone. Now, there are things that you learn along the way and things that because we change as we get older, our wants and needs change.
Mhm.
But had I known how to communicate better and more effectively in the beginning before I even committed to a relationship, we would have had a lot better off success.
I think fellas, we like to compromise. I think you see a beautiful woman, and a lot of times we settle. We say,
Oh, you
okay,
don't brush
well,
your teeth? Nah, that's not.
well,
Well,
she look good
she looks
still.
good. Do you at
Uh,
least floss?
right. She flosses every other day. No,
Yeah,
and so,
yeah,
I don't smell nothing. We got
yeah,
that new Big Five gum. She's put
yeah.
that little
She's put
stick of
that in
that,
it.
and
Yeah, she's
we
good.
good. But I would say do not compromise, at least on your core values,
Yeah,
right? I
core
think
values. Yeah,
I
for
think there
sure.
are things that you do have to, have grace again, for your partner with. But don't compromise,
Yeah,
like if you have core values and they're not meeting those expectations, don't continue the relationship. You're wasting both of your times.
man, that's real, and that's what I love about like my wife now is we took the time to communicate. We even read a book together before we even got engaged.
What was the book about?
The book was like Save Your Second Marriage Before It Starts.
Okay.
Now, technically, this was my 3rd marriage, so I was one
Blur the lines.
whatever. And this was her first, so we were kind of trying to meet in the middle. Her first, my third. Okay, let's do the second one. Whatever.
That maths
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah. But we went through that book in that workshop, man, and it was really like it gave us a better perspective. Things that we wouldn't normally ask each other if we were just dating without that information.
Right.
So, and then it just helped me better prepare and just better like confirm that the previous relationship was out the window,
Yeah.
or not necessarily out the window, but not in the heart,
Right.
of well, there's a possibility that,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
So, no, it was just a great book, and I encourage everybody, like, if you're out there dating or if you're co-parenting, both of y'all should probably, like, try to read a book or go to, a workshop, something together to just make sure y'all both on the same page and the same education on, okay, this is what this is supposed to look like. Or these are some of the things that can help us set the tone for how we want to, our family to be or how we want our family to look. So
Yeah.
dope, man.
Yeah.
Dope. Oh, let's get into the next question here, man. So third question. What habits or practices have actually helped make co-parenting work better, even when it's uncomfortable?
Yeah. What habits or practices? I would say the biggest practice for me that has made co-parenting, be more smooth is my ability to compromise
Mm.
at this point.
Choosing peace.
Choosing peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even and my ability to apologize, to
Yeah.
say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like if I feel like I came off with the wrong tone, I'm not just gonna let that simmer.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'll call you right back, or I'll
Yeah.
send you a text
Yeah.
and sorry that, this might have came across that way, even though
Mhm.
she might not even said nothing about it. But
Mhm.
just I feel like leading with that ability to be apologetic
Mhm.
and compromise,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
like understanding that, that person, she's also going through some things,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so yeah, and so just being able to compromise, and like if she needs an extra day, cool, I could keep him. It's all good.
Yeah.
And hopefully not to the detriment of myself, of course.
Right. Right.
Still
Right.
like wanting to, uh I gotta lead with my best foot forward, of course, because
Correct.
I still have my kids to worry about, right? I don't want it to get out of control where I'm off kilter and now my kids are paying for that.
Yeah.
But wherever I can, yeah, it's all good. And just having that ability to, be apologetic and to compromise, if you need extra support here, whether it be financial or, you need me to spend more time with the kids in this area
Mhm.
or, whatever it might be, cool. I'm
Yeah.
happy to do it. I'm happy
Yep.
to do it where I can.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's dope. That's the same lines along the lines of what I had to do for sure. It was peace and boundaries.
I like that.
Like
Yeah.
choosing peace and setting boundaries
Right.
because I do recall like, there were just times where she needed help with something. And then she'd be like, well, it's late. You might as well stay the night. No,
Yeah.
no
Right.
boundaries,
Right. 100%.
boundaries. Because again, even if my mind was like, you know what, I could release some stress. What was that doing to the kids though?
Right.
Confusing the kids if you stick around, hanging around, still messing around.
Right.
They don't do nothing for nobody because now, especially on the woman's end, now because her emotions are involved. Men, we're like, it's just a one thing, it's a one time thing. Cool, I'm in, I'm out.
Right.
Women are more in tune with the emotional part of that. And if you get involved in that area, she's going to have a hope for something working out.
Yeah. Yeah.
For us possibly getting back together. Not all, but some. So for me, it was really like setting those boundaries, man. There were times where, I didn't even get to see my kids because I wouldn't cross that boundary. So it's like, all right, well, now I
It's
see
unfortunate that it be like that sometimes
it
though.
be like that, man. It be
Yeah.
like that. It be like that. But
That's
I wasn't
unfortunate.
going to, lower my standards in the boundary for an opportunity to be with my kids, especially when it required me to do something that was just out of line. That's unnecessary. It's
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
So
You took accountability,
I
right?
did, I did.
You looked accountability in the face and you said that I'm not gonna do this because I'm gonna have to be accountable for it later, right? And
Exactly,
I don't
exactly.
want to be accountable for that on the account of my kids.
On account of my kids, and for me, it was really because I had girls. I got daughters. I don't need my daughters thinking it's okay that for somebody to not be with you, but still be able to just sleep with you,
Right.
not fully be invested in you and still be able to hang out with you on that level. Like, nah, 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 nah.
That ain't
If
it.
he not in your life and taking care of you the right way, he don't need it being yeah, he don't need to be in your goodness. Your
Right.
goodness. Okay. So, but yeah, no, peace was huge. Choosing peace was big, man, because again, compromising, just like, okay, yeah, cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
I choose peace.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah. I'm
gonna sit
choosing
here,
peace.
not gonna sit
Yeah.
here and argue about this or make it a big deal. If
It's
I'm
not worth
available,
it.
I got you.
It's not worth it.
Dryer's broken? Cool.
Yeah.
No worries.
All good.
I get it. I get it. I'll
Yeah.
fix it. Yeah, no
Don't worry
worries.
about it.
Yeah,
All
I
good.
got the part.
Yeah. No
Yeah,
worries.
it's
Yeah.
20
I have
bucks.
glue.
I
I have
got it.
crazy
Yeah,
glue.
we got it.
I can glue it
Easy.
back together.
Yeah,
No worries.
no problem.
All good.
I got the toolbox. But anyway,
That's how I be feeling up for real.
yeah, so yeah, any of y'all going through some best practices or challenges, man, put those in the comments. Let us know what has worked best for you when it comes to like co-parenting and choosing the child over your emotions. I'm gonna get into our last question, but before I get into our last question, you mentioned like support, and I mentioned just fixing things and helping things. One of the things that this is gonna be a curveball for a second, just for a second. We don't
No
have to stay on this
worries.
topic for too long.
I was a pinch hitter back in my
All
heyday.
right,
No,
let's go.
I'm just kidding. I never played baseball.
Child support, child support. Let's get into that one for a second. I want to look up the definition real quick so I don't, make no
Evil. The
yeah.
definition. Evil.
Definition is
Evil,
evil.
period.
Child support. Listen, man. So before I get into the definition of child support, I'm gonna even just talk about my thoughts on child support for a minute. So my thoughts on child support. To a degree, I agree with it. To a degree. And here's the degree I agree is when the other party wants nothing to do with the child.
Yeah.
They're not picking
Oh,
them up,
yeah.
they're not hanging out with them, they're not spending time with them, they're not, they don't have any time with the child.
You don't get to shoot up the club and then not pay for the damages.
Yeah, yes, that's that's
Let that simmer.
let that simmer, right? So that's my, it's child support definition wise, I guess I would say is supporting the child in whatever the child needs with equal support from the other party. Both parties supporting the child with whatever the child needs. Both parties, not one party, both. Now, some of y'all gonna get in your feelings and be like, wait, they live with me. I am supporting them. That's not what I'm saying. Y'all know, some of y'all know what I'm saying. I'm saying to those like myself who paid, you know, 1,300, 1,400 bucks for 6 month old.
Yeah.
For a 6 month old.
How many diapers do they need?
Yeah, right, right. Now, I'm not saying I'm not supposed to help my child, but when she with me, just as much as she with you, or even if she's not with me as much as she with you, but I take care of everything on the side, why do she need $1,400?
Where does the number even come from?
I have no idea, but I know for a fact that they were saying this was one of the things I definitely disagree with. At least it may be a Washington State thing. I don't know. It may be all over, but it was more like they calculated how much I made and then how much she made, and
Mm,
then they also realized, okay, well she's not working, so because she has no income,
mm.
you have to cover that too. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So when are we going to hold the other partner or the other parent accountable for them not having a job
Right.
and not being able to support the child? Because if they can't support the child because they don't have a job, then the child should go to the parent that has the finances to
Yeah,
support the
man.
child.
I recently just kind of dealt with the same thing, right? Because I'm only about a year into this co-parenting,
Mhm.
so they just now starting to try to hit me with some child support.
Oh, back pay for sure.
Yeah, and so since we have been splitting time equally, and I have been sending money and funds and that, I felt as if, what do I owe you for? And the exact thing that you just said with the not having a job for the time period where she was not working after we split, because remember, I was the sole provider for the family and she was
Mhm.
a stay at home mom
Mm.
when we first split. About 6, 7 months before she got a job, she was living with family. She was collecting government checks. And so then they said, I got to pay that back. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I was sending you money though for anything that you asked for. I didn't tell the government to give you those checks, and you're capable of working. And when the kids with me were good, it's not like my kids was needing you or like they didn't have shoes or
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like we was all good. We was going to the zoo
Yeah.
every other week and we
Yeah.
doing all the fun things and the kids is good. They eating, make sure they fed, clothed, bathed. And so it was just one of those things where I was like, I'm disputing this. I don't
Yeah.
understand. Luckily enough, I was able to have a dialogue with the mother, and after several months, we did come to an agreement of where, she's not going to try to come for any additional child support. We have a record of all of our payments. And I found out that definitely if you're putting in those child support payments, don't just put food or diapers, put child support. Anything that you send her, that's child support. if y'all was
Oh,
co-parenting.
nice. Yeah.
That's a little plug. Just because when they go back to look at those records, if you do end up having a hearing or going to court, you want to make sure that you have your records all in a row and it's clear, cut and dry what is child support payments. But yeah, man. So my situation I think turned out better than most, but it was still really scary and it put a lot of mental strain on me for a while because I'm like, man, they coming up for 1 year. I'm looking
Yeah.
at like $7,000 to $10,000 they was talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm providing for a family.
Yeah.
This is single household
Yeah.
income.
Yeah, no, man. It was crazy. It was
So
wild. It was wild, man, because I remember before our court call and conversation, before we even got on that phone, we talked to each other for a minute and we were like, yo, okay, based on how I've been helping out all the time, groceries, you got it. I mean, I was at that time, I was making good money. So I didn't, it didn't bother me to send her $500 for something or whatever, get the kids.
sure,
Yeah, I
sure.
got the clothes, whatever, whatever. Cool. So before we had our court call, we was on the phone and we're like, hey, 550, 600, 600. Okay, cool. Let's agree with 600 bucks. All right. Judge get on the phone. He runs the numbers across us. Yep, yep. Based on this, da 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 da. Da, it's gonna be about 1350. Yeah, no, you're good with that, Miss Clark? Yeah, I'm good with that. And I'm just like, what?
No, the
So the
conversation.
I could not. I it was a recorded line, so I couldn't act out.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for
so
sure.
I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh
Did we just double this answer? Oh,
no, no, no,
no.
no, no.
So once we hung up on the phone, I called. I was like, "Yo,
What was
what was
that?
that?" No, I agree 100%. No, that's what you should be paying. I was like, "What?" So where do you help in this?
The switch up is crazy.
The switch up was
The
crazy.
switch up is
Money
crazy.
talks, money talks. That's all I can say. Money talks. So
Chris Tucker.
yeah, great movie.
It's a great
Was
movie.
it like this? No, but, that whole conversation had led us into like, okay, you do realize now I can't help you the way I used to help you because they're taking this out
Right.
regardless. I'm cool, whatever. 13, 1400 bucks, whatever. It sucks. I think it's pretty stupid, but you know what? Now when you need help with something, I can that you
This
they
this is
already
the
took
structure
yeah.
that you set up for yourself.
You set this up. Now there's no helping with the birthday party. There's no helping with this. That $1,300 should cover it all.
Yeah.
And I remember just when I was like, man, when is the state going to hold the other person accountable for not having a job? They have all these programs to help moms or dads, single parents. I won't genderize it, but single parents with childcare.
Yeah.
So when are they going to hold them accountable for getting a job to provide for their child and their home? You know what I'm saying?
Man, no, 100%, man. I think, and I'm I'm preemptively gonna apologize to all the women that are out there working and
And it's not just
handling
women,
their
it's men
business, and,
too.
and men as well.
Yeah, that's men doing too.
Um, but I do feel like women systematically get to take less accountability than men.
Mm, mhm, mm.
And I'm not saying that that's something I think that they go through a lot that we don't have to go through as far as, they carried a child for
Yeah,
9
yeah,
months. They do have those stigmas of having to cook and clean and
yeah,
take care of the house and all that. But I do think that when it comes to just like generalities, like if we were to get into let's say if we got into a domestic dispute, if it's me and a woman, at least in Washington State, they 100%.
on her side.
They on her side.
Yeah,
I got to be fully accountable for anything I did,
yeah,
and they probably don't even ask her a question about what she may or may not have done.
yeah,
And so I just think the accountability is skewed, man, from a judicial side of things. And yeah, man, I think that the babies end up suffering,
yeah,
in the long run.
yeah. I mean, I watched, one of my brothers get in trouble for, child support and back child support and things like that. And it's like, what's wrong with the system to where the man makes one mistake about back pay or not paying child support, then you put him in jail. How he gonna pay? How is he gonna pay for it if you
Right,
got him in jail?
right.
You're just adding it up.
Yeah, crazy.
So, what systems do or programs do we have set for the man that maybe couldn't get a job to provide and pay for the child support? Or why is we that it was just a whole thing, man. I just remember all the times of the fights and conversations, and even the part where I had got a different job where I was making way less money, and they dang near wasn't willing to work with me on adjusting the child support. I'm like, "I
Mm,
don't make that kind of money no more. So we gotta knock this down quite a bit." So it was just one of them things where I'm like, what systems do they have in place to help not only just the parent that's paying child support, but the parent that's collecting and not working? What are they gonna do to make sure that because this is what I told my ex. I told her, I was like, "Listen, man, you cannot count on this child support. I could die today, tomorrow, or anything. And
mhm.
because you're not working, this is all you're getting. So I'm not telling you to get a job because I want less child support. I'm telling you to get a job because anything can happen to me. And now you have no way to take care of the child
Right,
or yourself.
percent.
So that's the part where I'm like, the government and the system, they have to do something about the parent that's purposely not working because they're collecting.
Yeah. I think we do a disservice to our ladies though from the start because we kind of teach them systematically not to be accountable for stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like at least, on a financial side or things of that nature, right?
Yeah,
Because
that man takes care of everything.
exactly the man takes care of everything. So when it don't work out or when you get into a relationship and the
He's supposed
man,
to still take care of
he's
it.
still supposed to take care of it. And then what do you do when he can't?
Man, that's crazy. That's wild. That's wild. Well, I didn't want to get on that one too much longer. But
No,
that was just one that I know for sure when it does come to co-parenting, that's another big one for a lot of people is the child support.
and if you in your grandmother's basement with your socks off, it's twiddling your toes as a man, get off your butt, man. Go find a job, brother. There's lots of work out here, man. Take care of your kids. Just wanted to say that
Hey, somebody's listening right now, twiddling their toe. Put
for
the peanut
sure.
butter down, dog. Put the peanut butter down. That's crazy. All right, let's get into the last
I'm
question.
serious.
Man. Shoot. All right, last question here. How do you keep the child at the center when emotions or past history tries to take over?
Man, just leading with love, man.
Lead with love. Okay.
Leading with
I
love,
love
man.
that.
I think that the child didn't ask to be brought into this world.
Mm,
And I chose to make a child with you. And so we gotta figure it out.
yeah.
We led with love to make this child here.
Right.
You don't make a baby if you ain't
Well,
making love.
it's probably led with Hennessy, but
Yeah, but Posado if it was me,
oh,
but
okay, gotcha.
it's all good, And in any case, it's just leading with love, man. That kid don't know no better. They don't know
Mhm.
what's going on as far as the nuances and stuff. They don't know because we keep them out of that.
Yeah.
It's not something that you could even expect to have a dialogue with a 3-year-old about what's going on between mommy and daddy,
Right.
right? And so, like, I feel like me leading with love and just again that's why I have that ability to compromise now and have grace with my partner is because my ex-partner is because there's still love there,
Yeah.
right? And we have two shared loves as well, right? And we want the best for them. So
Mhm.
just keeping love at the front and being the foremost thing. It allows me to be apologetic,
Mhm.
to my kids or to her. It allows me to, compromise and take accountability, feel have a purpose too,
Yeah.
and feel good throughout the day. I never want to look back on my life and my kids don't like me or they don't want
Mhm.
to talk to me or they don't have, a relationship with their dad
Mm.
because of things that I let boil over when I could have just said yes, or I could have just made it more simple than it
Yeah.
had to be. And so, yeah, man, just putting love first, putting
Love
God
first.
first and putting love first.
Love and God. God and love. Yeah, no, that's a big one, man. Thank you for sharing that one because I know that's a tough one when especially when you think about the emotions and past his history try to take over. How do you keep the child in the center? And for me, it was just going back to looking at how it was for me. How it was for me growing up in a
Mhm.
co-parenting situation and how sometimes I didn't feel heard because they were too busy trying to figure out what was going on in each other's houses or whatever. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like, well, what they doing over there? Well, what's she doing over there? Well, what he got going on? And like, why do I gotta be the middleman here? I'm just trying to be a kid.
Yeah.
Does somebody want to take me out for ice cream or something like that? Can we just start there? You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, so it was just keeping the child at first. One of the things I say for me, I kept my daughter in the center by, again, one, choosing peace and then choosing to just respect the mother as best I could.
Letting her, because you talked about boundaries, letting her have her boundaries as well. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a big thing because, oh, and also not allowing other people to talk about my ex in a negative way in front of
Mm,
me or my kids. You know, only I can talk about it. I remember I shared this one time before in the last previous video before, but I'll share it again because it's about co-parenting. I had a girl, I was dating a girl at the time, and she tried to talk negative about my ex in a situation, which rightfully so, the situation definitely could have had anyone could have said something negative about. You have your own opinion. That's totally fine. I get it. But I had to pause her there. My ex-girlfriend, I was like, hey, we're not gonna talk about her like that because at the same time, that's still my daughter's mom, you know.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How far were you into co-parenting when that
When that
happened?
happened, oh, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 2, yeah, well, cause we had dated for 2 years, so no, I was about 3 years into co-parenting at that time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so
Because
I
I
was
think that takes time too.
it takes time, man, it takes time because in the beginning, you definitely got a lot to say.
Yeah, because you're dealing with all that
You do
animosity and grief
right in
of
the
the
beginning,
relationship
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
working
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, especially if it was, just on some, everybody's situation different, but if it was like negative terms or just a
Right.
negative separation, yeah,
Yep.
you definitely got a lot to say, and yeah, I guess I would say it took me about 2 to 3 years before I got to that place where I didn't allow anybody to talk bad about her in front of me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
now, whoa, now that's my ex now, that's my baby mom, so whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't until I learned to show that type of respect and genuine love, co-parenting love towards my ex, my daughter's mom, to where it got to the point where the exchange was more peaceful. The hangouts were more peaceful. The boundaries were respected. She could date somebody, I could date somebody. Like everything was chill. There was no questions. There was no, well, if there was no texting on certain anniversary days, like, oh,
Yeah.
remember when,
Yeah.
everything was at peace, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was what worked best for me when it came to keeping the child in the center.
For sure.
Perfect, man. Well, I got just a couple of last questions for you, and these are just all about just regular, just yourself personally, what you think you want to do about this certain topic, and then just overall. But we'll close with this. If someone is listening right now and struggling with co-parenting, what's one truth or reminder you want them to walk away with?
Man, have patience. Have patience with yourself, with the ex partner, with the kids. Just have patience in your life, man. It's easier said than done at times. But I think if you're leading with the intention to have patience and grace as well, then, things will typically shake out in your favor. I don't feel like I've ever found myself like upset that I took a moment to kind of collect myself and
Mhm,
and have some patience with the other person.
mhm.
I never felt bad about a decision that I made after I took a chance to reflect it. The only time I've had regret is when I did a spur of the moment thing.
Mm,
When it was something came to my table when I responded, just based
yeah,
off of initial emotion.
yeah,
So I think, give yourself patience to process,
mhm.
as well as give the people around you, some patience and some grace. Yeah, man, that's all I would say.
Patience and grace, that's what's up. Shoot, I would even throw this in there. I didn't even talk about this. This is a whole nother topic and conversation.
Yeah.
Patience and grace with the in-laws or
Yeah.
the other partner's parents,
Mhm.
man, because
Mhm.
sometimes they get involved and sometimes they'll just dog you out.
Yeah. 100%.
And,
100%.
for me, unfortunately, it wasn't until after my ex-wife's death to where the parents actually saw the truth in how good of a man I really was.
Yeah.
Of course they were hurt too. They didn't even live in the same state, so they really didn't get to all they got to do was hear what she would say, but they
Right.
didn't get to see the action that was actually put in. So, and I always had patience and grace, even when they was talking bad about me.
Yeah.
Just patience and grace for them. Like, hey, they know no. They know no better. They're not here. They're just supporting their daughter,
Right.
and this ain't the time for me to just be yelling and cussing and fussing at them.
Yeah. And if you're not there yet, set up some boundaries.
Yeah. Set up boundaries, man.
Don't let it consume you.
Yep, for sure. All right, and then we're gonna lead out with this one here. As you head into this week, what's one area where you're choosing progress over perfection, showing up imperfectly instead of waiting for everything to be right?
Man, that's a great question. I mean, I guess I'll spin it like this because right now I just started Ramadan. I'm
Yeah,
Muslim, or I identify as Muslim, and so I'm fasting
you're right.
right now. So typically, not eating or not having water, or throughout the day can lead to a little bit more irritability.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I'm doing right now is just allowing myself to again process things and take time with my kids, especially
Mm,
during this, next week and over this whole month of Ramadan. Because I don't want them to be going to school and dad is, thrown off their day because I've had a certain tone of voice that I
mm.
wouldn't typically have, or, I'm fussy or nitpicky about certain things. So I got to remind myself over this next month.
I'm going through it. I'm going
Yeah,
through it.
okay, you're not being yourself right now. You can't have a Snickers, but put yourself into that Snickers mentality, right? You're not you when you're hungry,
You're
okay?
right.
So
You're right.
just it should not get on your nerves. They're sitting there laughing and giggling. They done said the same joke 36,000 times. It is okay.
Let it be.
Breathe. So yeah, taking the time to breathe and just, again, my whole thing is patience right now.
That's what's up,
Yeah,
man. Well, Dre, man, I definitely appreciate you for having this conversation with me and just
for
stepping
sure,
in on
bro.
this,
For
bro. Yeah, I
sure.
appreciate you, dog.
Yeah,
Uh, for those who are listening, man, if you are in a co-parenting situation or if you're about to step into one, hey, this video is for you, man. I encourage you to rewatch this, take some notes if there was something that could help you out and encourage you along your journey. Or if you're not co-parenting, but you know somebody that is and could benefit from this video or just hearing our perspective on certain things, go ahead and share this video with them and just, yeah, hopefully, it could spark some truth, some growth, and some patience and boundaries in their co-parenting. Outside of that, man, want to leave y'all with this. Co-parenting isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. Take one step forward this week, choose growth, choose maturity, and choose progress over perfection every time. I'll see y'all in the next one.